All right, so one of the symptoms of a bad belt, actually the main symptom, is that you'll turn on the unit and then it'll sound like everything's running, but the drum isn't spinning and nothing is going on like that. But you hear the motor running. So what you're going to want to do is pop this hood. There's two clips. There's one about here and one around right here. All right, so the easiest way that I have found is to take a thin tool like this. This is a 5-in-1 painter's tool, and just kind of slip it under there. And it's kind of hard to pry, but it will. You can also use a screwdriver, works too. Be careful with a screwdriver, it's more likely to scratch it. So what happens is you want to pull this up, right? So be careful, there's some wires right here. You want to get these wires loose so that you're not ripping them. This is the one for the door switch. And this, if you just let this go back, it's just going to go back too far, and it's no good at all. So what you want to do is prop it up. I have a toolbox right here I'm going to tie it to. All right, so let me tie it and I'll be back. All right, so our next goal here is to remove this front panel with the door and everything. There's only 6 screws holding it. It's very easy. We've got 3 on top and 3 in the front. Now these 3 in the front are different, so keep that in mind that those are different when you separate these screws. They're all Phillips screws. All right, there's a couple of little tabs right here. You just have to kind of push these down and lift up over, right? Just like so. Careful with the switch wire right here, remember. Don't let that stretch that wire or break the plug. And just lift up on the bottom like so. And carefully pull the wire out. Just pull straight out. It's very easy. Now the next thing that we're going to want to do is take the front assembly off of the drum that houses the filter and all that stuff. I'll show you here in a second. But what I like to do is I want to take this out where the filter goes. You know, you get a lot of dust in here, and this presents a good opportunity to clean all this out. Now you probably don't have to take this off. It'll come off with the whole housing if you just take this one screw off where the motor's at. So it's just 3 screws, it's very easy, and you just get a shop vac if you have one, and clean this out. There's one screw over here is kind of hiding from the camera. You'll see it, it's obvious. And just kind of lower that down like that. I've already cleaned this out pretty good. All right, next you're just going to want to pull the wire from the moisture sensor. All right, now we can pull our front bulkhead off of here. It's just 4 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4. No problem. Just set these screws aside. And this shouldn't fall when you take the screws out. This has some little metal tabs that stick into the side of the dryer right here. So it should stay on its own, hopefully. Now normally the easiest way I would do this is kind of put one arm inside the drum and then use the other arm to take the bulkhead off, just kind of lift up. But I have a hand that's damaged, so I don't want to risk damaging it further, so I'm going to grab some help. All right, so just lift up on the drum. Use your other arm to take that off. Just like so. All right, so at this point, you really don't have to remove the drum. You've got access to the front. You could just lift up on the drum. Obviously, this belt isn't broken, but if it were broken, this is how I would get the new one on, right? The same way. But I want to actually remove the drum. That way I can vacuum inside and clean everything. Look at all the rollers, all that stuff. You don't have to if you don't want to. If you just want to replace the belt, all you got to do is pull the front of it off. But removing the drum is just easy at this point. So you just kind of lift up on it like that and pull it out. It's no problem. All right, so another good reason to take your drum out is so you can check your rollers. Here's your idler. Make sure the idler spring is good. Make sure your roller spins good. All right, the idler's back here, here. There's 2 more in the front where, you know, we took that bulkhead off. There's 2 more rollers on that. You'll want to check those too. So it's good to make sure that those are good while you've got it apart. Otherwise, you might get it all back together and find you've still got some problems, okay? Just wanted to mention one other thing I did right here. I don't know if it helped, but it actually seemed to. The dryer was making kind of a scraping noise like it had something trapped in the drum, but we could never find nothing. When I took it apart, I found the surface right here where the cloth part of the drum kind of rides right here. It's like it kind of made it like a gummy, rough surface right here. So I just took some steel wool and a little bit of Simple Green and kind of scrubbed that off and cleaned it up like new. And when I put it back together, that noise was way better. So just wanted to mention that if yours is making a noise for some unknown reason, you might want to clean up this surface and the other surface on the bulkhead where the drum rides on that as well. Clean that up too, okay? And also, if you're doing that and you're scrubbing with steel wool, watch these screws sticking out because they'll get you. All right, so I put the drum back in. I didn't really film that part. I just set it in there. So just take your new belt and go around like so. Lift up on the drum to get it back where it goes. Just like that, all right? Now comes the tricky part. All right, so I've removed the little pipe in here that comes out where the dryer discharge is. It's only one screw, and then it comes out of there. It'll give me a lot more room to get my hand in here. Normally, you would probably use two hands and put your other hand up through the hole that's above the motor so you can pull the idler back, but I'm not able to do that. I have to do this with one hand. All right, so start with the belt that's around the motor and then kind of grab and then pull the idler like so. See that? Just like that. That's all there is to it. It goes around the motor, around the idler, and then back up to the drum. I'll move my hand so you can see the whole pattern right there. It's very simple, but it is a little bit tricky because you can't see it very well. All right, if you notice here, the belt is a little bit off track. That should correct itself once you put the front bulkhead on and go ahead and spin the drum. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and put this thing back together. I'm going to show it, but I'm going to fast forward it. And these are these rollers I was telling you about earlier. Just make sure those are spinning right. All right, got the front all screwed back on. Everything's good. Before you close the lid, just make sure your wire is in its place right here in these little clamps so that it doesn't get hung up in the drum. And that's all. So just close it like the hood of a car, except don't slam it down like you would with the hood of a car. Carefully bring it down. And voila. Let's plug it in and see if it works. I'm going to go ahead and push the switch in so you can see the drum turning. Oh yeah. No problem. All right guys, hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.